Yo, this is something I wanted to check out by Cash Jordan on what's going on right now because
New York City.
I literally see this shit constantly, you know? Like in certain areas, like I think it's mostly in the Bronx, but I seen this a little bit before Mamdani um took took over as mayor of New York. All right, let's see what he has to say about it.
City's grocery stores are closing. Listen to this.
Oh, my bad. Hold on a second. Yo.
New York City's grocery stores are closing. Listen to this.
Marvin Cruz says in front of his Food Fair Fresh supermarket, he counts 30 unregulated vendors.
Dude, that's so fucking gross. This is so fucking nasty, bro. This is just food poisoning and salmonella just ready to go, bro.
Garbage all over the ground, including old fruit and eggs.
They don't have no refrigeration, and they're selling multiple different items. I even seen.
Dude, why do you have eggs? You gotta refrigerate them eggs, bro. You cannot have egg. They're not like avocados that are right here. They're probably not even like they're probably rotting as well, bro. Look at some of these. Some of these stuff does not look appetizing at all.
Vendors selling eggs, not refrigerated. Wow. A mess of box. They blocking the sidewalk. They
they litter bugs too.
Cruz claims his constant request for urgent help from city officials is ignored, and he's just trying to hang in there.
We love the community. We invested in the community. We want to be part of the community. We need help.
Cruz tells 1010 Wins if some kind of help doesn't come soon, his supermarket's going to close. Glenn Schuck, 1010 Wins.
So you have a situation where there are so many people illegally selling things on the sidewalks that legitimate businesses can no longer operate. And here's why that's happening.
Dude, I've seen this a lot lately. Hold on.
That legitimate.
I think this is Canal Street, or it looks like Soho because it's either Canal Street or Soho. There's so you know what I'm saying. There are so many, like vendors, either Chinese or some type of African vendors in Canal Street, just selling fake ass goods, straight up. And if you're from New Yorker, you know not to go near it because you know they're not legit. You know, but if you're a tourist, then you don't know no better, especially if you're from international.
Businesses can no longer operate. And here's why that's happening.
A sigh of relief for street vendors as selling goods on the street without a license no longer comes with the threat of criminal charges or being...
Why does this look appetizing to some people? Chat, let me know. Does that look appetizing, the food that they sell
a series
out
of bills
here?
passed by
Does
the
it
council
really?
to rein in the city's long-standing vendor issues.
How is this reining it in?
They say it's a relief that people aren't calling the police on them anymore so they can work in peace. They say
yeah, it's just these dumbass other Hispanic people just because they're not calling the cops just because, oh, they happen to be Hispanic and they speak Spanish just like we're not going to turn them in. Bullshit, bro. That's so stupid. If they're doing wrong, turn them the fuck in, man.
when police...
You're going to get people sick by this fucking food. Straight up. You're going to give people food poisoning, E. coli, salmonella, whatever the fuck, bro. It happened to my sister a few years ago.
Did come, people would run scared, leaving their money or merchandise that would get taken. They say it's more peaceful now to not feel like a criminal just trying to survive.
With those vendors and the folks who help them, they say not being criminalized is great, but there's still a lot of issues these vendors face.
So they've decriminalized street vending. You're still not supposed to do it, but now that it's not a criminal offense, there's no more enforcement, and vendors are literally
fake
everywhere.
Gucci,
and if
fake
you go
Louis
to certain
Vuitton.
parts of town, like the notorious Canal Street,
Yep.
there are more vendors there than ever before. I was just there, and they have taken over the sidewalks.
They're straight up going to turn it into a Paris, bro. They're straight up going to turn Canal Street or New York into a Paris. If you don't know what Paris is just full of type of like vendors. And it doesn't even look like Paris no more.
On both sides of the
Because thank Christ, I went there in 2014. It still had a semblance of Paris. Not anymore, and I'll never go back to fucking Paris. If I ever go back to fucking France, it'll be like in southern France, not northern France. Fuck that.
street. You cannot walk down the street to get into the legitimate businesses that line the sidewalk where people pay full rent. Now think about that for a second. How does a legitimate
I used to work there. I used to work near Canal Street.
business that's got to pay thousands of dollars a month in rent survive? Competing with people selling the exact same stuff, or in some cases, counterfeit knockoff versions of the stuff inside the store, outside the store.
And more fear.
Dude, my friend's cousin's friend, he bought a pair of knockoff iPods, like AirPods version 3 or some shit like that. They to me, they look just like the original ones, like the ones you get at an Apple store. But then when he tried to like sell it back because he didn't want them anymore, they wouldn't take it back because something didn't look right with them. They just completely rejected it because the way that some sellers, I mean, some people that would like buy back electronics is that they have like a VIN number on the electronics. They can scan it and see what it is. They would show like, oh, it's an AirPod or whatever electronic it's called, because they have like a VIN number or serial number or something like that. They couldn't find nothing with him. He went to 3 places, they couldn't find anything. So a lot of these knockoffs are like almost exactly very, very, very they look almost identical to the real thing. Just saying.
Currently, NYPD, parks, and DSNY have jurisdiction over street vendors. According to DSNY, the law won't stop their civil enforcement, which can involve breaking down vendor setups, issuing fines, and tossing food deemed unsafe. She says the fines would be huge, sometimes thousands of dollars. She says she applied for the permit 2 years ago, and she's still waiting. A separate bill to cut down on the waiting list.
Bro, wait, bro. Just keep waiting then. Because that shit is disgusting, bro. Some of the stuff... Dude, if I ever eat from any of these vendors, the only ones I'm eating are the food trucks. The straight up food trucks with that little fucking sign right here.
She says she applied for this right here 2 years ago, and she's still
with this fucking FDA like inspection grade. Straight up, I am not going anywhere near some of these Mexican or not. They're not even Mexican, bro. They're like Ecuadorian or Peruvian street vendors because they're unsanitary as fucking. They look dingy and degenerate, and the people don't even wear fucking gloves. That shit is gross as fuck. That shit will get you, bro. I tried a piece because my friend had one of those fucking shits. I tried a piece of it like a few years ago. Had fucking diarrhea, straight up having the runs for like the past 7 hours. He got it the worst. He straight up had to go to the emergency room and get an IV because get the IV thing for their arm, the little IV, because he was just drained of fluids. He couldn't swallow anything because he just kept throwing up, vomiting and diarrhea just galore. He was out for like 2 weeks. Me, I was like fucked for like a day and a half, just constant diarrhea. So I had to continuously just keep drinking water because it was just so bad.
Waiting. A separate bill to cut down on the waiting list for those permits, which can take as long as 10 years, is also moving through the city council.
So the reason that we have permits for street vending is so that there are not too many street vendors in certain parts of town that might get in the way of sidewalks and legitimate businesses. But now that we're not going to enforce any of the rules and people are just going to get tickets, you essentially have a system where everybody has a permit to do street vending as long as they're willing to pay a few fines every now and then. You see, this is just a money-generating scheme for a broke city, and because it's a sanctuary city, since this is no longer a criminal event when you get stopped for selling stuff on the side of the road that came from who knows where, you'll no longer have a criminal
Home Depot
record,
or Lowe's
which might
right there.
pop you up in ICE's system and have you get deported faster.
Will no longer face the possibility of jail time for minor violations.
Yeah, no more jail.
I'm not a criminal. I was just doing, my job, trying to provide for my family. I'm just doing an honest living.
Dude, I am surprised that I'm surprised that this lady got the fucking grade right here. Oh, she even has her own website and everything, so she could be like straight up like maybe not as dirty as some of the others, but most of these fucking places are dingy ass fucking food carts, dingy ass fucking tables, dingy ass fucking food. I'm not going anywhere near it, bro.
Mahmoud Zayed has been a street vendor for 18 years and expanded his business to 4 locations across the city.
Okay, maybe
he's
got
received
legal
several summonses over the years.
They can give you a criminal ticket for any reason. Let's say if you're not hanging your license. Let's say if you 1 feet more close to the crosswalk. Let's say we were supposed to be 10 feet, right? So let's say if I'm a 9 feet. If you come, the cop stop by and say you're 9 feet. Okay, I'll give you a criminal ticket.
So this gentleman that is a food vendor is upset that if you don't have your license, you could get in trouble for that. Well, people need to have a license so that folks know that you're a legitimate business and you're not scamming people, and
you're at least decently clean too.
Oh, you're too close to the sidewalk. He's upset that you could get a ticket or be subject to enforcement. Well,
oh, she got a B right here. She ain't that clean. She got a B, bro. Nope, still not doing it. Yo, I don't go anywhere near, bro. I rarely ever see B's, but when I do, I don't go anywhere near them. I saw one C in my life, and I was like, nope. No, I had to cross the street and not go anywhere near that place because I felt like the air was going to contaminate me. The air that was coming out of that fucking, it wasn't even a food cart, it was a restaurant. Just the air from that restaurant coming at me, it felt like I was going to get like Ebola or something. I was just scared for my life, so I just crossed the street.
If there's no enforcement, the city...
Yeah, my sister ate something like this years ago. I think it was like a drink or some type of parfait. Ooh, my God, she just kept throwing up, bro. It was bad, bro. Ooh, my God. I didn't want to be anywhere near her, bro. Ooh, man.
Becomes unworkable, and we end up with the types of congestion on the sidewalks that you're seeing in New York right now.
Meanwhile, here in New York City, you also have all these people. This is the famous canal.
Yeah.
And look, now they start freaking out because I put a camera on their face. But they sell all this stuff, counterfeit goods. Meanwhile, all this madness is happening here in New York City. Nothing ever gets solved. They let criminals do whatever. Whether you say this is criminal or not, it is. They're selling fraudulent goods, not paying taxes on it. Meanwhile, you're working hard right now. But these guys are able to make loads of cash.
Paying no rent.
Pocket it all in their pocket without ever even having to pay tax. So then watch, as soon as I put a camera on any of these fraudsters, these scammers, watch how they just freak out. How much? Show your face? No face? How come? How come? Look, they make lots of cash.
This guy's
They know they're
rolling,
doing stuff
man.
wrong. That's why they won't show their faces here on
No.
camera.
Yo, this guy got a lot of balls, bro. This Nick Shirley dude. I've heard a lot about him. I don't watch his channel that much, only when I see it on my feed. But this guy got a lot of balls. He goes to different places and just reports on a lot of shit. I think he was either on the news as well. Am I correct about that? Wasn't he on the news in regards to exposing some type of scam that happened in Minnesota or something like that? I didn't really read up on it that much. But yeah, this guy has no fucking fear, bro. If it were me and I was then, I would at least carry some type of weapon just in case they try to jump me or do something stupid to me.
Affordability crisis for them.
Making thousands of dollars. Look, how much?
Look, they're in front of the bank. They're in front of the Chase Bank. I guess that makes sense since these guys are cash only and you're going to need to hit up an ATM. Actually, I guess this is bad for the bank. They're only taking money out to spend it on the streets. They might not be putting any back in.
How much?
Look at this.
What's wrong?
That's
Doing
illegal.
something wrong? They know they're doing stuff wrong. That's why they all freak out. No, I'm all right. Thank you, ma'am. They know they're doing stuff wrong. That's why they
This is
freak
crazy.
out. And you really do have a lawless New York City right now. You have a mayor who's not
God, a
complaining.
lot of these fucking tourists, bro, they know no better, bro. The tourists that come from other parts of the country or other parts of the world that are just down here, they've got to know, straight up, they have to know that, oh, this is the Chase Bank that I typically go to whenever I have to like withdraw some money when I was working at my old job. Because I used to work in Walker Street in New York like 3 years ago, and I would go to this bank. It was like a 5 or 6 minute walk over here. But bro, I mean, how the hell do these tourists not know that all this shit is fake as hell? You know, or do they know, or are they just like ignorant about it? I don't know. There's no way, especially if you're from the States, there's no way that you would think that all this is real. There's no fucking way.
Everything that happens here now is allowed in the name of equity and justice.
Advocates say this will protect an industry that is overwhelmingly made up of immigrants.
It's a huge step towards equity
What
and
do you mean,
justice
equity?
for immigrants in New York City who now no longer
I hate the fact that there's always us Hispanic people portraying that stupid shit, man. As a Hispanic person, that really pisses me off. I hate the fact that we're portrayed as fucking shitty ass, scamming ass food vendors or just selling shit, fake shit in the middle of the streets, bro. I hate that, man. I really do hate that.
have to fear going to criminal court for something as simple as serving tamales to provide for their families.
According to the Street Vendor
The
Project,
mouth that could potentially get you fucking sick. Fuck that.
there are 23,000
Potentially.
vendors across the 5 boroughs, and last year alone, the NYPD issued more than 3,600 vendors.
Yo, there was one that was similar to like the one that they had on near my house that looked kind of like this. That looked kind of like
He counts 30
look kind of like that, like this, an
vendors.
open fucking dingy ass fucking black skillet with some fucking Peruvian or Bolivian lady just serving up like questionable food. Straight up, I was like, and then like after like 6 months, this was before Mamdani, and 6 months later she was just gone. There was I have no idea where the fuck she went. Thank Christ, because that food, it didn't even smell good either. Most of that shit even smell. I guess the business wasn't that good in the area, and plus I live in a suburban area where everything is quiet, not a lot of traffic, no, not enough foot traffic. That is, so yeah, I don't know who the hell would want to eat that shit, you know.
3,000 vendors across the 5 boroughs, and last year alone, the NYPD issued more than 3,600 vending-related criminal summonses.
If you
That
are
no
in
one will show
immigration
up.
proceedings, then that's also something that will show up on your record anytime.
See, that's it. They don't want people that are in the country illegally to get a criminal summons for selling something on the street that they're not supposed to be selling, and then to have ICE get wind of it. That's what's really going on here, and it's happening at the expense of who? At the expense of legitimate businesses or people that maybe want to walk down the sidewalk but don't want to walk through a congested marketplace for some reason. But maybe want to walk.
This is like I'm not sure if this is the Bronx, but if it's not the Bronx, probably Queens, like Jackson Heights, Roosevelt, Corona. Those places is heavily, they have a lot of South Americans and Mexican people there. A lot of Colombians, Central Americans, and such forth in these areas. Jackson Heights, Roosevelt, and Corona.
Walk down the sidewalk but don't want to walk through a congested marketplace for some reason.
Now Mayor Zohran Mamdani says he has hard data to back up what too many New Yorkers like Washington feel. At an event at Medgar Evers College, he released 2 related reports. 1, a citywide racial equity plan, and 2, a quote true cost of living measure. The report shows that it costs $159,197 for the median family with children to afford the city. The report also showed that a slight majority of white families are getting by with those numbers, but large majority of Black, Hispanic, and AAPI families are not.
I hate we're always being lumped at the bottom, man. I hate that shit. We're always being at the bottom of the barrel in every single statistic, bro. I'd rather just stay in my own. If I was some immigrant that came here from some third world shithole, I would just stay home instead of being lumped and seen as lesser than in a first world country. Fuck that. I would never want to do this or degrade myself or belittle myself in this light. No, screw that.
It inspires us to redouble our commitments in two ways. One is to ensure that as many New Yorkers in this city as possible can earn a living wage so that they can actually keep up with the cost of living in the city. And two is to tackle the costs that are pushing that cost of living so high.
The mayor says that explains his focus on universal childcare and housing, two of the biggest reasons the city is so expensive.
So this equity plan, it's already caught the eye of the Trump administration. It says there's a whole bunch of DEI that's going to be included in this plan. The Department of Justice says that has no place in our society. And the Civil Rights Division is going to be looking at this.
Again, when it comes to DEI, for me, guys, I'm not in favor of DEI at all. I don't believe that your race or your skin color or your sex should represent how good you're going to be in the workforce. I think your skills is what should be the driving factor in how you are presented, especially when it comes to like working, especially when it comes to employment, you know, or housing or any of that stuff. Leave your race, your ethnicity, your sex out of it, straight up. Because if they do that shit to you, then you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that to me. I can't believe they're discriminating against me, against my fucking gender, my sex, and da-da-da. Really, dude? Really? 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 Rules for thee, but not for me. It's okay if it happens to us, but if it happens to them, then they catch a bitch fit afterwards. That's what I'm noticing.
The plan suggests increasing the number of city teachers who receive professional learning in implicit bias and culturally relevant pedagogy. The plan also says New York's history has been one of colonization, exploitation, and racial oppression. This has some people really worried about the direction of the city.
It's that time.
You always got to throw that in there.
Almost 100 days in, when new mayors face their first job approval ratings.
It's very frightening right now.
I like him. I like his smile. I think he's got good energy.
According to a new Marist poll, 48% of New Yorkers approve of Mayor Mamdani's job performance. 30% disapprove. 23% are unsure.
Half love him.
I think it's a good start, given that he's net positive by 18 points. That's good.
Okay.
Mamdani's 48% approval rating is lower than that of Mayor Eric Adams.
Dude, we had so many shitty ass fucking mayors. We got Mamdani now. We had Mayor Adams, who was fucking didn't do dick, and before Adam, we had Mayor De Blasio, who was just he didn't do fuck all either. He was a corrupted motherfucker who just was there just to collect a paycheck. So we're just getting shit mayors after shit mayors after shit mayors after shit mayors, bro. We'll never fucking learn. We never will learn as New Yorkers here. We will never learn how to pick a decent mayor. Like, heaven forbid you pick a Republican, you know, just to see what he's like and what he'll do for the city. Heaven forbid that. No, we don't want no Republican. Fuck that. This is a blue city. Fuck you. No, fuck you. I want to see something different. And what has voting blue done for you lately? You know, I'm not political by any means, guys, but I have eyes, and I've seen all the many years we haven't had any good mayors here in New York, you know?
Who had 61% at the same point in his term.
Interesting. Now, you got to keep in mind that right now, in 2026, 12 years after Mayor Bill de Blasio was brought in, who was the most progressive mayor we'd ever had in history, Mayor Mamdani is actually doing worse than he was, and people voted for him big time. And I guess even in a city of radicalized voters that went all in on communism, things still aren't working out the way they want.
I do believe he's bringing a lot of effort, especially with the childcare.
Our unscientific
What does that
on
mean?
the streets reflected what the Marist poll found. More than half saying they have a favorable view of their new mayor. 74% say he works hard.
We've looked to be ambitious, unrelenting, and move at the same speed as New Yorkers do.
But the problem is, none of the stuff that he's working on actually works. When people are asking him about affordability, he says he wants to make sure wages go up, which means they want to raise the minimum wage here, which is just going to make it harder for the businesses.
Stop showing that parfait. Dude, stop showing that parfait. I'm getting flashbacks.
That you can't even get to because of all the illegal vending taking place in front of them that nobody's going to enforce. It's like every single thing the mayor wants to do is bad for these businesses.
Love him. He's very smart, good looking, very articulate.
Oh God, honestly, I don't give a fuck about what these old people. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I could give a shit less what these old bitches and these old men think, bro. These baby boomers, I could care less about your opinion at all. Most of y'all fucking destroyed this economy and basically left us millennials and Zoomers shafted when it came to of what's going on right now. Have you seen most of us can't find jobs. Most of us will not ever get a house. Most of us won't do anything. So honestly, I don't give a shit what this old bitch thinks at all.
Is there anything that he's done that will impact your life so far?
The affordability issue is very important to me.
How do you feel Mayor Mamdani is doing?
50-50. It was just a little manipulative, considering that he never really had the ability to do a lot of the things he was promising.
Oh, they found someone who says the mayor overpromised and hasn't delivered, which means that people really want those free grocery stores. I guess you might have to have a free grocery store if the legit.
How's that even possible? How can you get some free of something like free grocery store, free healthcare? That's not possible at all. Like somebody has to flip the bill for that shit. So I mean, how are you going to pay your workers if it's free? You know, I might be a little bit ignorant when it comes to that type of shit, but let me know in chat who's a lot smarter than me. How is it possible to get free grocery stores or free healthcare or free something aside from raising the taxes like significantly, like in other places across the world, like in like Sweden or like in like the Scandinavian or Germany or something like that? Like, 'cause that's the only thing I can think of is just raising taxes, and they're already doing that. Trust me, I felt it in my tax returns.
Stores all shut down. The city will just raise taxes and put in a free one and say, hey, we did it.
Finds 60% or more think Mamdani is a good leader, fulfilling campaign promises, working to represent all New Yorkers, that he understands the city's problems and is doing more
He's
to
headed for a
unite
second
than
term,
divide
man.
the city.
But if the overwhelming majority of New Yorkers believe all of those things about Mamdani, why is his job approval rating at 48%?
His image was very strong in terms of a lot of factors, governing somewhat different.
The poll found 49% of Jewish voters disapprove of Mamdani's performance.
There's a tremendous amount
I guess the Muslim, Jewish, animosity there. That's what I think.
of anti-Semitism in New York, and I don't think our mayor is addressing it properly.
When judging their mayor, some voters say they need at least another 100 days.
Well, look, he won the election. And it's not like a bunch of voters who just went all in on communism are going to turn around and vote for somebody like President Trump. If that person wants to be mayor here, no, that person will lose. You have to be a sanctuary mayor who wants to do everything you can to tax businesses and punish achievers and give that money out, or at least promise it to the people who are voting for it. You see, voting for other people's money is the way that you get power in New York City. If you say you're going to take other people's money and give it to the voters, that's what they're doing. That's what they think their plan is here for success. But these approval numbers have given the city council, at least some of the city council, the wherewithal to resist a little bit, a tiny bit of the mayor's agenda. Watch this.
We have said a hard no to raising property taxes 9.5%.
A hard
that is
no.
Unacceptable.
Another escalation in the simmering tensions between Mayor Mamdani and Julie Menon as the moderate council speaker took her fight with him over the budget to the
They're not
National
moderates,
Action
man.
Network convention. Menon putting her opposition to the mayor's
First time I've
proposed
heard of her.
property tax hike in stark racial terms.
If we were to do that, we would be hurting black communities across our city. We'd also be hurting small businesses. 5,000 small businesses, many of which are black owned, have closed last year. 5,000.
Wow. So let's raise
25,000
taxes
jobs
up.
have been lost, mainly in the black community.
Menon and Mamdani have tangled over competing budget proposals.
She's using his own tactics against him, which is interesting because Mamdani is actually to the left of the most left-leaning city council in any major city in America.
The mayor insisting he needs Albany to approve taxing the rich and corporations to close his budget gap and threatening to raise...
Dude, the only thing that's going to do is just, have these businesses and have these corporations just leave New York. He's pulling that bullshit that AOC pulled years ago, where Amazon tried to get to Long Island City to build like their own like Amazon center there, or some type of like headquarters or something like that in Long Island City. I think it was Long Island City. She wasn't even from that district, so I don't even know why she was running her mouth. And all of a sudden she was like, no, just throwing a bitch fit about it, and they never came. You know how many jobs we could have had with Amazon there? Bro, I would have loved to work. I live near LIC, Long Island City. It's so easy for me to get there. And she was like, no. Corporations, fair taxes, all that. Higher taxes, Like, seriously, I want these if it was me, bro, I would want these corporations to stay. I would lower their taxes as much as possible, and I would slash some taxes. Like, you don't have to pay these taxes, like a poll tax, or not a poll tax, like I think it's an employment tax. Like, you have to. I know they have to pay a tax when when you have employees. I know you have to pay a tax. I would also slash other taxes as well. I would just slash a lot of taxes for these corporations. But the stipulation would be that you would hire people from the U.S., New York especially. You New Yorkers who are legit New Yorkers, either born here by legal means or people who have green cards and citizenship. That's it. That's the stipulation. And I'll also give them tax benefits as well.
Property property taxes if they don't.
Oh, yeah.
Menon says no new taxes are needed. Her plan focuses on efficiencies and reforms. For example, she says the city can save $860 million by simply not budgeting unspent money for positions that have remained unfilled.
Wow.
The mayor, who campaigned on a promise to tax the rich, says hogwash to that. He says her plan would mean service cuts.
The things that will never be in question for me are the cutting of essential services to New Yorkers.
What that means is if the city has to save money because it's run out of other people's money, that plan is not going to happen. They're going to raise taxes to get that money so that they can spend it. They've got a list of things that they want to spend money on, and nobody's going to stop them. That's what you're hearing right here.
We will never allow a New Yorker to have to go to sleep wondering whether those kinds of services will be endowed.
What
the
about
next
wondering
morning.
if they have enough money in their bank account?
Menon's hard no to raising property taxes.
When we put forward our preliminary budget on February 17th, I said then what I'll say now, which is that it is a path of last resort, one that we will spend every single day looking to avoid as we pursue a path of working with Albany to increase taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers, the most profitable corporations.
Yeah, right. But the problem with that is if your goal is to increase taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers, and that's your plan, when those New Yorkers leave, these are now the wealthiest people, so now you have to raise taxes on them.
Yep. It's a trickle-down effect, basically. The most wealthiest guys, corporations, they get taxed to hell, they leave. Then the next one, let's say upper class, they get taxed to hell, they leave. Then the upper middle class tax guys are the next one to get taxed because the other guys left. They get taxed to hell. They decide to leave. Then the middle class get taxed to hell. They can't do anything. Most of them have to leave, or most of them stay because some of them are not that well off. We only have half of them to get taxed. Okay, we have to tax the lower middle class. They get taxed to hell. Then the lower class will get some type of taxing as well. It's just trickle-down effect.
And when they leave, now these are the wealthiest New Yorkers, you see, and now you got to raise taxes on them, and pretty soon you have no more middle class, but you still have all of the things you want to spend people's money on.
Now, the mayor still has time to rethink his budget until he sees what he gets from Albany, but there is still one irrefutable fact. He can't shove the budget down the council's throat. They have to approve it, and he'll have to negotiate with a speaker whose politics are far more moderate than his. Guys?
Very experienced speaker in the political world,
Far
too.
more moderate. I don't know about that. They all want the same things. They're just afraid to promise too much of other people's money because then they're going to go and have to take it from their own voters and they're going to lose votes. You see, so everybody here, they're just trying to stay in power. They're just trying to do everything they can to maintain political energy and momentum. They smell some blood in the water. They see that people don't want property taxes, so now they come out in favor of not raising property taxes. But look, the writing is on the wall for this place. 9.5% is what they're saying they don't want to raise it by. Well, what about 4.2%? What if that comes up in a year? It's half. This is just the warm-up for taking money out of people's pockets down the line. People are talking about it now.
Oh, God, I'm dreading the fact that, I could see it in my paycheck constantly, bro. The taxes they take out is just, oh, my God. There's a reason why I have two jobs. It's because I can't afford it. I can't afford it if I have one job. I can't do anything if I have one job. That's the only reason I have it. But I see my taxes, how much I have to fucking pay, how much they take out when it comes to federal and state tax and other taxes as well as how much I have to pay the state back for tax season. Oh God, and they potentially supposedly gonna raise it more. Oh God, man, it's just hell, bro.
Now they're all excited about it. Everybody here wants to see the wealthiest New Yorkers get taxed, not understanding that eventually everybody is gonna have to pay for that. What do you think? I will see you in the next video.
Good video, bro. Good video by Cash Jordan, bro. Let me give this guy a like. Yeah, bro. Like I mentioned, it's a trickle-down effect, bro. You tax the wealthiest New Yorkers, they leave. The next one, it will be upper middle class. You tax them, they leave. Middle class is going to get taxed to hell. Not many of them can leave, so they're going to have to eat it, So, oh, man. How do we go from this, man? Oh, God. I don't ever want to see this. Look at this, man. I don't ever.
Are closed.
Regulated vendors.
Oh, this is just gross, man. I can't do it, bro. Guys, if you guys are tourists that come to New York, don't ever do this. Don't ever eat from these fucking vendors. Don't ever buy from these guys. Some of these fruits and vegetables are rotting as fuck. Especially if you get blueberries or grapes or raspberries. Some of them are rotted, and some of them have some type of microbes in there that you just don't want to fucking get near. Trust me, bro. The only food trucks, people who sell food outside, are the street vendors that have the trucks. That's the only ones I would touch, and they better have the A grade, like this woman right here. She has an A grade. Surprised that she has an A grade. That's crazy. For example, Waffles and Dings. Here we have Waffles and Dings and Jamrock Jerk Chicken. That's the only ones I'll ever touch when it comes to food vendors and shit like that. But hey, that's just me.